Hey guys, this is Lex the Barber here. A lot of you guys have actually been asking me questions as far as like what's the best way or how can you possibly cut your own hair. Um, I have a lot of clients that have also asked the same thing, wondering how I cut my hair. So I just decided to make this video to help a lot of you who are probably either thinking about cutting your own hair or have been wanting to get into the hair industry. I'm gonna start making a lot of videos about haircut tutorials and how to adjust your clippers and a lot of different videos like that and good content. So if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, hit the little notification bell, and please like this video. It definitely helps me out a lot. So stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and start teaching you how to cut my own hair. Hey guys, this is Lex the Barber over here. So I'm actually in my bathroom right now. I'm about to cut my own hair. Gonna give you a little tutorial on how to be able to cut your own hair for those of you who have probably never done it before. As you can probably see, I got quite a bit of hair. I'm gonna be taking all this off and cleaning up my beard, as well as doing some Bigen as well. I'm gonna fix up the beard, that way you guys can get a look and see how Bigen works and what it looks like before, while applying it, and after. Alright, so to be able to cut my own hair, I'm going to be doing a couple of different things. Alright, so the tools that I'm going to be using is going to be the Andis LIs, which have the adjustable lever on them. I'm going to be using the Andis Slimline Pros. And I'm also going to be using the Wahl 5-star shavers to be able to help clean up the shaving. As well as, obviously, you're going to need a little brush to be able to help brush the hairs and keep them tamed down, and your straight razor. So I'm also going to be using a couple of different guards. I'm going to be running probably a number 5 on the top and maybe a 4 on the sides, and then I'm going to be doing like a bald taper here on the sides as well as the back. The other thing you're probably going to need is also a mirror, that way you can actually take a look at yourself on the mirror and be able to also see behind you while you're doing the back part. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the number 5 guard on there. And I'm going to go ahead and just keep the lever closed. I'm going to take this down quite a bit. And you're going to probably see me leaning forward because I'm trying to lean on top of the sink. That way I'm not dropping hair all over the floor in the bathroom. So we're going to go ahead and run a number 5 against the grain. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm cutting against the grain and I'm combing it back so that the hair lays back as I'm cutting it off. That was the 5. So now we're actually going to do the 4. I'm going to run the 4 around the sides of my head because I usually like the sides to be a little bit shorter than the top and help blend it in. So I'm going to use a number 4 guard closed. Now, just to be able to let you know, closed also means the blades are closest to the guard blade. When you open it, you see that the lever closed is closer. That's a lot shorter haircut. Open, it just pulls these blades outward. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm doing everything closed right now. So I'm going to put the 4 guard on it, closed, and I'm going to go around the side. I like to go around the ear. That way it actually goes against the grain, because my hair usually grows with the grain. So I like to go against the grain. It gets a much closer cut. And I'm actually going up to like right around here. I don't want to go up too high. I don't want to go up too high because then I have to blend all this in. So I'm trying to stay right around the crown. And then on this side, you're gonna go from behind the ear and just come against the grain going forward. All right. Alright, so that basically takes care of the top and the sides. So now that the top is done to a 5, the sides are down to a 4, we're going to go ahead and start working on the taper. Alright? Alright guys, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and start pre-mixing the Bigen. I'm going to be using number 58, which is usually a dark brown, which I have black hair, but the dark brown actually blends in pretty nice with the skin color and with the hair color as well. So I'm actually just going to pour some in the little tray that it comes with. Alright. You don't need a whole lot. I'm actually just going to go ahead and just use up the last little bit that I had in this pot, in this bottle. Alright. This is just a used bottle that I had already. Alright, so after putting the Bigen into the little measuring cup that it comes with, I'm going to go ahead and just spray it down with a little bit of water. Now what you want to do is you don't want to have it too watery, but you don't want to have it too thick either. What you want to do is, I guess the best way of describing it is just to have it look kind of like a syrup. Alright, and the reason why I like to mix this now is because it usually takes a little while for the Bigen to actually start. And while a lot of people call it Bigen, some people call it Bigen. There's a controversy about that, so different people call it something different. I just like to mix it here before I even start doing the razor and everything. That way it'll be ready to go by the time I get to actually doing the color. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and set this aside here and let that just keep doing itself while I continue. Alright, so now we went ahead and did the 5 on top. We did the 4 on the sides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Slimline. And I'm going to go ahead and just erase this line right here. I'm actually going to make a line right there. Alright, so you can probably see that right there. I just kind of erased everything right here. Normally what you want is just to have a gap so you have enough space to be able to blend up and also be able to blend the beard in as well. So we're going to do the fade up and we're going to do the fade down as well. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did right there. I'm going to go ahead and do that on the other side now. Alright, so then we have both sides actually have that little gap right there. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and just do the back as well. Now for the back, I'm going to use my handy mirror. So you can probably see the back. I just kind of went up evenly all the way around and just give me enough space to be able to do the blend. So we're going to be able to do the blend there as well. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just edge up the back since I already did the 4 around the sides, and I'm going to be working on this blend right here. I'm going to go ahead and line up this right here and on the other side as well. Alright, now to be able to line it up, sometimes it could be very tricky because when you're looking in the mirror, you're looking at a mirror into another mirror, so you have two opposites. You have to remember which way you're going. So what I like to do is, I personally like to go, as soon as I hit it, I go forward with it. So I touch and go forward, touch and go forward. And then you can actually see right there, hopefully you'll be able to see that, but you'll be able to see how the line goes straight down, and then I got this line over here, so now we're going to be blending it in, and we already have our edge of where it's going to go. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Always keep brushing. Once again, when you cut, move forward. That way you don't get confused as to which way you're going to be going and accidentally go back and then take a chunk of hair off, because that would suck. And clean up the little baby hairs that you might have around here. Alright, so right there you'll be able to see this side's also done. Alright. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start doing this blend. So I personally like to do the beard first, take care of the beard hair first, and then I'll take care of the sides and then the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run about a 1.5, which is the 1.5 guard. I'm going to run that on this right here on my beard, just to be able to just tame it down a little bit. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and take the one guard, and we're going to trim this down a little bit. We don't want to go too low to where that 1.5 is. We're going to just try to blend this beard in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the one guard in there now, and just go down a little bit on there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do no guard, open. Okay, so closed, remember that the closed is very short hair. When we go open, you're going to see it's going to pull that blade back. Alright, so the no guard open, I'm going to take from right where the earlobe is, I'm going to take that up. Alright, and then I'm going to close it to blend in that line that I did initially. And then halfway. And right there, just like that, you have a nice, decent blend going into the beard. Alright, so now the next thing that we're going to do is, we're going to go ahead and do the other side, the same way. No guard, open. Halfway through, close it all the way, take that line out, and then halfway, and remember, you can always play with the lever, moving it forward, back, to be able to close, open. This lever right here is going to be your best friend when it comes to fading. Alright, and then to be able to go into the bulk a little bit, we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. We're going to go ahead and do the one guard closed. And you don't want to go too far. You just want to basically take this bulk right here out. All right, so then there you go. You have a decent blend going into your beard on this side and a decent blend going into your beard on this side. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work on the blend in the back and then do the sides right here, blend those up, and then we'll get started with a straight razor to start doing some of the shave, cleaning up the beard before we do the Bigen. All right, so for the back, same thing we did on the sides. On the back, we're going to go ahead and brush it down. Hold your mirror up. Open. All right, so now the next thing I like to do on the back is I like to run a number 2 guard just to be able to take some of this bulk right here off. But I do the number 2 open. So I'm going to go ahead and open that all the way up. All right, so to be able to do the sides right here, what I like to do is the same thing as we did for the beard. I'm going to start off with the no guard all the way open. That way it's going to be a little bit longer. And what I like to do is I brush it down, and I like to come up maybe about anywhere between like ½ inch. You don't want to go up too high because you want to give yourself some fading space. So I'm going to go up probably about ½ inch. Okay, for those of you that might not be good with measurements, ½ inch, I mean, you can always just put your pinky. That's probably about how much I'm taking off right there. I don't want to go up too high. All right, and then I'm going to put the 2 guard back on, closed, the 2 guard, and then I'm just take away some of this bulk right here. All right, so once again, go ahead and brush it down. And as you're doing the fading, one of the most important things when you're doing fading work is you have to remember to swoop out. You don't want to go up because you're going to create a new line, and then to get the new lines out could be a pain. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just take some of this bulk out right here, brushing it down and swooping out. All right, so you probably already start seeing how that blend is starting to come in. Now, right here, between that no guard open and that 2, well, I'm gonna go ahead and put the 1 guard right in here about halfway open. Now remember, everybody's hair is usually a little bit different, so you wanna play with it. Take your time when you're doing this because you don't wanna end up messing it up and then taking twice as long to try to fix whatever you messed up. So I'm gonna put the 1 guard. This is open, that's closed. I'm gonna probably put it about halfway and just play with it, feel it out. And then close it all the way and try to get that little line out. All right. And I like to use the corners. The corners are really important because you can always like get into there. So you can actually just line it up like that. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take no guard, also closed. And we're going to go ahead and try to take out that initial line. Remember to always swoop out. Don't go up and just stop there, because you're going to keep creating lines. And if that line keeps going higher and higher, you're going to eventually end up with your taper like all the way up here, and that's going to just look terrible. Go ahead and open up your lever a little bit. Alright, so the last thing I like to do, personally, I mean right there actually looks already pretty good, but I like to put the 0 guard on there and just try to get in between what we just did and the 1 guard. So I'll put the 0 guard on there and just kind of just take a little bit of that last little bulk right there off that you'll be able to see. Alright. So if you can probably see that right there, that actually is already looking pretty good. So we went ahead and blended that up, blended this down. Now we're gonna go ahead and do the other side, and I'll get back with you as soon as we get to the back. Alright guys, so now you see the other side's done as well. I'm not sure if you can see it good with the lighting or this camera, but you see this side, the beard is blended, so is the taper right there. This side's also done. So then the next thing we're going to do is the back. Now the back is honestly going to be probably one of the trickiest parts. It took me a while to be able to get this, but then again, I've been cutting my hair since I was 16, and I'm 35 now, so be patient, take your time with it, try not to rush it, because if you rush, you end up taking some hair that you probably don't want to take off. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing that we did before. Now as you can see, we did right here, we did the 2 on the top right here to bulk that down. Right here we did the 0, the trimmers to be able to make the initial line, and then we did the no guard open to get this line right here. Alright, so now to get this line out right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the 1. I'm going to put the 1 guard halfway open. Alright, so about halfway open. And we're going to swoop out, holding the clippers backward like this. Alright, and then you want to go ahead and open it all the way and go a little bit higher. Remember always to swoop out. This is really important. Alright. Alright, and then also remember to continue brushing it down. That way when you're swooping up, the hair is laying down and the blades can catch the hair as it's cutting up. Alright, so now the last thing we're going to do is we need to get that initial line out right here. I still have a little bit of bulk right here. I'm going to go ahead and get that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and get that initial line out. And to do that, I do no guard, completely closed. That'll get that line out. get the 1.5 guard to try to get that bulk out that we did between the 1 and the 2. I'm gonna go ahead and just attack this right here a little bit, that way I can get some of that bulk out of there. Alright, so right there is actually looking pretty good. I don't know if you can see that right there on camera, but the blend is actually looking pretty smooth, going all the way up, all the way around. And we already have the line, so we should have the edge already ready to go. Alright, so all around the haircut's looking pretty decent. I'm a perfectionist, so I kind of keep tweaking at it and keep going until I get it. But for tutorial purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just start cleaning up the beard to be able to kind of show you the way that I like to do it. Alright, now before the beard, there's one other thing. The Wahl 5-star shavers. I'm going to go ahead and go to where I did this, right here in the middle, and also clean up the neck and the back, because this thing will get you a really nice close part, so that way the blend actually looks pretty nice. Now remember, you don't want to go up too high with these because these are shavers, and if you put a line in with these shavers, you got to go back into it with the trimmers and then with the clippers closed and open to try to get that line out. So just make sure you don't put too much pressure with this or go too high with it. All right, I'm going to do the shaver also on the back. Good. Alright, so now that we got the haircut pretty much already done, we did the 5 on the top, we did the 4 on the side, went ahead and tapered up the sides, going from a bald tapered up, blended the beard down, this side as well, faded that up, blended that down. Now we're going to go ahead and clean up this beard. So we already ran the 1.5 on the beard with everything, so now we're just going to go ahead and line it up. Now to line it up, just like everything else, make sure you brush. And I like to hold the trimmers pointing towards my ear like that. And whenever I cut, I'm gonna go back towards my ear to be able to get that line. Remember, if you touch and go forward, you're gonna completely mess up this entire blend that we just finished doing right here. All right, so I like to comb it down, brush that down, and I like to go ahead and just touch it and go back with it. There you go. Now, a lot of people like to, and whenever they're doing their own beard, they tend to kind of go down and forward with it. The beard looks nicer when you go down and somewhat back. So you want to make sure that that line is going down and somewhat back, or at least straight down. Looks a lot better than whenever people go like that and bring it forward. All right, so take it all the way to the jawbone before you actually start going forward. Now, the beard is also a lot of big personal preferences. Some people like to have the beard like all the way back here, and some people like it right on the jawline. Me personally, I like it right underneath the chin. It kind of slims up my face a little bit. I am kind of a plus size guy, so. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and brush it and hold the trimmers like that. You want to go ahead and touch and go towards the ear, go back. Alright, so now we have that line as well. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take care of the neckline and right underneath the chin. and then go against the grain, going back up. Alright, so the next thing that I like to do is take care of this right here. Now the way that I like to do it, I personally like to have it go straight down and then come up and into a point right there in the middle. So to be able to get that done, the way that I like to hold it is I want to go ahead and just touch there, and then over here, touch there. And you want to make sure that it's completely lined up too. Right here, it can be a little tricky the way that it grows and the way that you want to have it done. And then right here, go down, come over here, boom. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do that now. All right, and what I like to do is to be able to get this puffed out, I put my tongue behind my lip and stretch that out. You want to make sure you stretch it out to make sure you can get the closest cut that you can with the trimmers before you do the straight razor. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do the corner technique that we were talking about earlier. I'm going to use the corners to be able to get into that line and make that nice and round. All right, so right there you'll be able to see the mustache is pretty much lined up. You don't want to go too perfect with it because we're going to go over it with a straight razor anyway. But once you do the straight razor, it's definitely going to be able to bring out that sharpness back out on the beard. Plus we're also going to be doing some of the Bigen, so the Bigen you're going to see how it ends up coming out. It just color enhancement, so anytime you have, like me personally, I have like a little spot right here where I don't grow that much hair, and over here as well, where it's just a little bit lighter. You'll be able to see with the Bigen how this line right here looks completely natural. I mean, at first when you put on the Bigen, it looks really dark and it looks really fake, but once you wash it off, you'll see the after result of what it looks like after it's all done. All right, so the last thing that I like to do with the beard is do the straight razor. Now notice I haven't touched this right here with the trimmers or this right here with the trimmers, and the reason for that is because technically whenever you start going down with the trimmers, there's an area back here that you can't really see in the mirror. So I don't like to use the trimmers on this part. I go just straight to the razor itself. So I actually do this whole line right here with the razor, and it just looks a lot sharper than if you try to do with the trimmers and then the razor. So right there is pretty much already done. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the razor work. I'm gonna clean up here real quick and I'll be right back. All right guys, so the next thing we're gonna be able to do now is we're gonna go ahead and start using the straight razor now. And we're gonna go ahead and line up everything right here. We're gonna line up the beard, we're gonna line up the back, and get everything prepped up so we can, when we do the Bigen, we have the lines that we're gonna go based off of. So the first thing is first, we're gonna go ahead and just get the face nice and warm with like some hot water. Obviously you're not gonna be able to do the hot towel shave or anything like that. If you wanna do it, that's up to you, but here I'm just gonna get my face and everything that I'm gonna be using the straight razor with, I'm gonna get that wet. It's not good to ever dry shave either. It's not good for the skin to be dry shaving. So I'm not gonna be using any shave gel or any hot lather or anything like that. I'm just gonna go ahead and just start lining everything up and shaving. But you wanna at least get some type of like lubricant in there, which in this case, I'm just using water. So water, something is better than nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and just line up the whole front, the sides, and then we're gonna start doing the beard. Now noticing the different techniques that I'm using with the razor, between shifting it, backhand, front hand, moving my fingers around between the tang and actually the shoulder right here. I'm just moving my hand. It's gonna be a lot of getting used to. It's not something you'll probably do right off the bat, but it's just a bunch of different techniques that you can use just to make sure that your lines and everything come out nice. The blade will do all the work for you, and to be able to use the blade, you just want to basically hold it at like a 45-degree angle and just let it glide on the skin. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. All right. So now once the front edge is done, and you have everything lined up and everything, right before the beard, I usually like to do the back just to get that over with. So once again, just get it a little bit wet. On both sides. Grab your mirror. And just start being able to attack the beard. All right. So with the beard, I personally like to always start right on the mustache. The best thing is to get rid of the mustache part first before you start dulling the blade, because if you do everything else, by the time you do the mustache, if your blade is dull, it starts pulling and yanking, and that starts hurting after a little bit. So now that the blade is still fresh, because all of these are kind of like baby hairs compared to how thick the beard usually is. So we're gonna go ahead and do the mustache. What I like to do is hold it backward, and I like to bring it down all the way to where I want to put my mustache at. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and start doing the sides right here. And to be able to get this line right here, to be able to curve like that, believe it or not, the best way is to just go ahead and just pull. What you want to do is pull the skin, and whenever you pull the skin, you want to make the line pretty much straight. So it's funny the way that it works, because if you go like that, you pull, you put the line straight, the moment you let go, you're gonna see that the skin falls and you have the curvature that you need right there on the beard. Same thing on this side. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull this. I'm going to go ahead and make the first where I'm going to start. Alright. So now we have where we're going to start. We're going to go to where we're going to finish. Alright. Now you have where you're going to start and you have where you're going to finish. Now it's just a matter of connecting those. To do that, go ahead and pull the skin. Alright, so as you can see, when I pull the skin, what I'm doing is almost a straight line. And when I let go, you see that the line starts creating itself. So right there you can already start seeing the line, so it basically comes down. I'm going to touch it up real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well. I also go up and down when I'm looking in the mirror, just to kind of make sure that both sides look pretty even. Which right there they do. Just kind of retouch up anything that needs to be touched up. And right there you can already see that both sides look pretty even all the way around. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this line right here in the back, right here, and this line right here. Alright, now to do that is also a little bit tricky because this time you're using a blade and this can cut you if you actually end up going too far back, like into your ear. So make sure it's wet. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just do the line right there and cut back slightly, but what I'm doing is just little tugs, not too much pressure, not too far back. Alright, and do the same thing on the other side, but this time I'm going to touch and push back lightly. So this time you're going to go back, not like I was doing this. So right here we're going back towards the ear, right here you're going to go back towards the ear, but you're going to be flipped. So you got to be really careful, at least on this side. If you're righty, you're probably going to have a hard time with your left ear. If you're lefty, you're probably going to have a hard time with your right ear. Right there you can actually see that line's done. All right, and then what I like to do is I like to just hold the blade the same way you're supposed to always hold it, and I like to shift my hand and I go down with the grain first before I go against the grain. Last thing before the eyebrows, I'm gonna clean up the eyebrows too, but the last thing is gonna be this section right here. So what I like to do is this section right here, let's first of all get it wet. Alright, and then holding the blade backward like that, holding it normal, flipping it backward, I'm gonna go ahead and just do this line right here, holding the lip and stretching the lip out. Little sharp, I'm going to go ahead and use the tip of the blade right here in the corner. Careful with the middle of the blade because the middle of the blade is going to be right in this area right here, and if you go down then you're going to end up getting a straight line instead of getting that curvature that you want going up. And that's because my hair grows downward, so when you go up, you're actually shaving against the grain, you get a much cleaner shave in those areas. Alright, so as you can see, the beard's done, haircut's done, blade work is done. I'm going to go ahead and just clean up the eyebrows real quick. If you guys are interested in actually me teaching you how to do eyebrows and everything, just comment it on the section below. And let me know you're interested in learning how to do your own eyebrows or anything like that, and I'll be able to do a tutorial on how to be able to clean up your own eyebrows as well. For now, I'm just going to do it real quick. Alright guys, so now that we have the haircut completely done, got the beard done, got the back lined up, got taper going all the way around. Alright, so we got the eyebrows done. The last thing we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to go ahead and retouch up the beard with a little bit of the Bigen. Now, like I told you before, that when you put the Bigen on, it's going to go on really dark and it's going to look really fake. Don't be scared. I mean, a lot of people freak out whenever they see like really dark. They're like, oh my god, it looks like I Sharpied my face. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put it on. And I'm going to show you how to apply this. So as you can see, it actually looks like a syrup almost. It actually looks like really thick. So you want to make sure that it's not too watery or not like super thick to where you can't even apply it. But you want to go ahead and just start putting it on, and as you apply it, what you want to do is you want to put it where you're gonna line up a beard and then pull down. So you put it into the beard. All right. So you're gonna see right here. See, it's going on really dark, and it's gonna get even darker. So don't freak out. You'll see the after product whenever I wash it off, because what this is doing is also staining your skin too. Alright, now that's as far as I'm going to go, because if you keep going higher it's going to darken this, and I don't want to darken that because we ended up doing the blade work right here, and we ended up doing the fading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of as much as I can on the rest of my beard. And when I barely have anything, then I'm going to touch right there and just kind of blend it down. That way it actually goes into the same effect and it looks like the same blend that we did, even though we're blending in color now. Right here, I'm going to do it right here, just be able to line that straight down since I don't grow too much hair right there. Alright, and I'm going to touch up a little bit and go kind of in my mustache. I don't want to go all the way up because then that looks really fake. I'm going to go a little bit up and kind of blend that into the mustache a little bit. Alright, and what you can do is you can always keep some like a paper towel or some toilet paper anywhere around, and if it looks too dark you can always just take off a little bit. Alright, so basically what you're doing now is you're basically just coloring in the beard, so you can already start seeing how dark it's looking. It's going to get really dark, but don't worry, like I said before, it's actually not going to be that dark when you're done. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and retouch up this right here as well on both sides. You can also use it to hide a couple little gray hairs here and there for you fellas that might have like real gray hair. I have a few, so I'm not gonna say I don't, but it'll help you be able to hide some of those grays as well. And if I haven't said it by now, if you haven't done it already, please like and subscribe. That definitely helps me out with the content. I'll be able to keep bringing stuff out, and comment underneath below if you're looking for me to teach tutorials on how to do anything else. I'm going to start doing a lot of different tutorials on how to be able to cut hair on other people, not just on yourself. This one's just how to cut your own hair. For those of you that are probably still looking to, or having difficulties cutting your own hair. Alright, so I know that I showed you guys the way that it looked when I did it. Now you can actually start seeing more of what I was talking about. So now you can actually see more sharp. Now remember, it's not gonna stay that dark, and it's probably gonna get a little bit darker. Once you wash it off, the excess comes off, and the only thing that stays on is just the skin looks a little darker, so it looks like there's actually hair in that little part. This side doesn't look as bad as this side does, but I'm gonna go ahead and just retouch it up with the color anyway, once it's already mixed. Alright guys, so I went ahead and got the haircut done, the beard is done, eyebrows are done. I went ahead and did the Bigen. So if you can actually see, I'm not really sure if you'll be able to see that well with this lighting. Let's see if I can. Alright, so I don't know if you can see that right there. So I have the Bigen going all the way across, and I have it doing this line right here. And I also have it on this side, as well as the beard. So yeah, it looks shiny, and it almost looks like I Sharpied it on, and it looks really dark, but remember, that's not gonna stay like that once we wash it off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and give it about 5-10 minutes. What you wanna do is normally leave it on for about 15-20 minutes, but I've been already applying it as I've been doing everything else. So I'm probably gonna give it about another 5-10 minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and jump in the shower, wash everything off, and I'll show you guys the finished product later. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so this is the actual final product. I just finished taking a shower, washing everything off, basically taking all the excess off. So I just wanted to show you real quick what the final haircut and everything looked like. You can see how the Bigen just kind of leaves it dark, but it doesn't stay as dark as it was whenever I had the Bigen freshly put on. You can actually see all you keep is just the lines, and everything looks pretty nice and smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and give you just a 360 real quick. Take a look all the way around. And that's it, guys. So that's how you pretty much cut your own hair, fix up your own eyebrows, fix up your own beard. If you want to do the Bigen on yourself, you can always do that as well. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the description or on the comments down below. Or if you want any more tutorials, feel free to message me, and I'll be able to do my best to see what I can teach you guys. Now this is a new channel. This is probably one of my first couple of videos that I'm actually doing. But I'm definitely here to be able to help all the new barbers and existing barbers who are trying to just step up their game to the next level, be able to help you achieve that. And I'll see you till next time. Take care.